Now, if you look at the milk producing ability of that, you're looking at around 300 pounds more milk in every ton of dry matter. And I took a low number for organic. I know it's closer to 30. I was just looking in the newspaper the other day on it. So I want to be conservative. If it's $28 a hundredweight, and we can get 300 pounds more milk in every ton of dry matter on that 100-cow farm, in an organic system, you're looking at almost $70,000 is on the table for you to pick up by simply getting your hay crop into storage the same day you mow it. You're increasing the energy of that feed so it can produce more milk on the same feed. This is a huge number, and we have non-organic farms that have jumped on this big time because they are making good money with this system. Now, there's some other parts in here that we hadn't realized. I work with Dr. Lyman Kuhn, University of Delaware, quite a bit. We bounce stuff back and forth. And he was trying to make some Clostridia. He wanted to do some tests with it, etc. And he wanted to make butyric. So he went out and he took alfalfa and he mowed it and he threw it into a silo, just as it was, green. And he said, I felt like a dodo because I'm a specialist in this bug and these compounds. I could not make butyric. I could not make Clostridia. It would ferment perfectly every time. So I said, well, just leave it overnight. He left it overnight. He had butyric and Clostridia up the wazoo. And that's what you're seeing here. Where he immediately ensiled it, it had a pH of 4.6, no butyric, very low soluble protein. Where he let it sit for 12 hours overnight, which is what most people do. He had a very high pH. He had high butyric, and when you get high butyric, you get ketosis in your herd. And he also had high soluble protein. And what he concluded was that if you delay the filling of your material, you're going to have respiration of those fermentable sugars we've been talking about. Then the good bacteria, the inoculants, and we recommend inoculants on all wide swath material because you need to have the right bugs working for you. Then the good bacteria have no food to make the lactic acid. And if they don't have food to make the lactic acid, Clostridia get going. They burn off a whole lot more sugars. They make soluble protein, and they make butyric acid. So you just turn good feed into garbage. I saw a nice example of this. I was doing a seminar down in Pennsylvania, and I was on a panel with a farmer who had switch. Pretty good sized farm. He composts all his manure. So he had the guy out mowing. He was mowing a 30-foot mower, putting it into a windrow, coming back the other way, 30 feet into a windrow. So we had 60 feet into a windrow on first cutting, which is a pretty good pile of feed. Well, he was out looking at his composting manure, checking to make sure it was right. He had a big compost thermometer, and he was sticking it in the windrows of compost, checking to see how it was doing. He made a mistake. He walked over to the alfalfa field and stuck his thermometer into the windrow and suddenly realized he was not making hay crop silage. He was making compost. So when you mow it to a narrow windrow, you are not making feed, you are making compost, and you are burning off the stuff that you need to make milk from that forage. And you can get it to the point where there's so little sugars in there that even adding the homolactic bacteria, which you can add, or with the traditional farm sometimes use buffered propionic, it doesn't matter. It's not going to work because there's nothing there to preserve anymore. From Dr. Lyman Kuhn, University of Delaware. Does this work? This is Everett's farm up in Ontario. 74% forage in the diet. This is 14, almost 1,500 pound cow, 77 pounds of milk, 4.0 fat. His corn silage was 0.77 NEL. His haylage was 0.7 NEL. Almost as good as his corn silage. That's a long ways from 0.57, 0.58 most people have with their hay crop silage. And for an organic system to be able to capture that much more energy in getting it into the cows is a huge shift in your profitability.